Hello, this is Pastor Jay with Walk in Truth Radio Podcast, and I want to encourage and implore you to become a podcaster. In today's time, there's a lot of things to be said, and there's things on your mind that other people need to know. The best way to get your word out is to become a podcaster. And the secret to podcasting is becoming part of the Anchor team. Yes, become a podcaster on Anchor FM. All you have to do is download the application and walk through the prompts, and you'll find yourself podcasting before you know it. And the greatest thing about Anchor podcasting, it is free. And guess what? You don't have to worry about distribution. They distribute it all over the planet through many different platforms. So all you have to do is be concerned about your content, and they give you tools to mix your podcast with music and sound effects. So again, I encourage you today, go to Anchor and become a podcaster. Download the app and watch how simple it is. This is Pastor Jay signing off. Stay tuned to the show and always be encouraged, be blessed, and be at peace. And remember, walk in truth on Anchor Podcasting. Peace. Hello, this is Pastor Jay. I'm excited to invite you to come over to listen to our broadcast on YouTube. Yes, Walk in Truth Christian Fellowship Church on YouTube. We have some great videos over there, and you'll be able to listen to all the lessons and the podcast. So again, subscribe, like, and continue to comment and listen. This is Pastor Jay. Talk to you later. Peace. Hello, this is Pastor Jay with Walk in Truth Radio Podcast with your encouraging word for today. It's inspired by Romans 8:17, and it says, "And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified." Our identity, our position, and what we must go through to obtain glorification. In my travels and my journey in watching other Christians grow, the one question I always get is, why are we suffering? Why am I suffering? And you know what I've determined? Suffering is relative, because I could take that same person and ask them what consists of their suffering, and they will give me a list of things. I can take that same list to somebody else who is suffering greater, and they would say that person is being blessed. So what's the difference? What is real suffering? Well, the Bible tells us part of the blessing plan of God is suffering for his sake. There's a suffering that Christians will go through because they are part and parcel the children of God. And because of who they are and what they say and how they move, they will be persecuted by the world that hates them. But that's part of the journey until glorification. It says that until we are able to suffer, and we will suffer, that's part of how we become glorified in Christ. There is no glory without suffering. And I understand the natural flesh wants to avoid suffering at all costs. The only problem with that is this suffering is mandatory for glorification. So I want to encourage you today, this day, understand that your suffering is relative, that there is someone out there who is suffering way more than you are. And you have to understand, are you actually suffering, or are you just going through life? Is suffering not having what you want, but having everything that you need? Is that really suffering? Or is that possibly being spoiled by the Western society and comparing yourself to someone else and what they have? Remember, if they don't have Christ, they don't have anything. And if you suffer for Christ, you have everything. The Bible teaches us that if we lose our life for Christ, we'll gain our life. But if we spend most of our time concerned and worried about this life and the things of the flesh and the worldly things of this time and age, we will lose our life. So be focused on suffering, but ask yourself, am I really suffering for Christ's sake, that I may be glorified? This is Pastor Jay with Walking Truth Radio Podcast. I always want you to be encouraged to be blessed and be at peace. And always remember, as you're suffering for God, you will be walking in the truth. Peace.